everybody, welcome back live at Drew's house, Joppa Afternoon Drive. Hope you're all doing well, enjoying your spring and this nice warm weather that is finally settling into the Newburyport and greater Boston area. Sarah Blackstone on hand here, running the show here for us today. Sarah Hayden, thank you both. Get that out of the way right away. I don't say that at the top of the show enough. Thank you guys for all the hard work you do. Another edition here. I am excited about this one because I just know this is going to be interesting. Lucas Rosa, Charles Rosa in the house. These guys are mixed martial artists. Correct me if I get any of the fighting terminology wrong, but you guys, well, you're dangerous guys here. How are you? Good to meet you guys.
Yeah, great to be here, man. You know, we're here from, we live down in South Florida.
Yeah.
Lucas is fighting on Friday, so we're here for him to support him. And
Lucas, you're at Beverly Friday.
Yep, I'm at Beverly North Shore Music Theater, so yeah, that'll be awesome.
One of our favorite venues. I know Karen Nassimbeni runs that place. She tells me it's always an exciting night for them when they do the fight night there. I think it's your first time fighting in Beverly, or?
Yeah, first time in Beverly for sure. I've fight a lot in South Florida, but I've fought up here and won a few times, so it's good. It's always
and won a few times. Yeah.
So it's good.
Awesome. It's a great place. I hear it's going to be a fun night. I know the ticket sales were going well and stuff because I think it's a very. This sport has just taken off. I got into it during COVID. So I'm a late bloomer to it, but it's that you guys were kind of one of the first sports to come back, really, and so many people I think just became fans.
Yeah, no, for sure. That was, especially during COVID, I think is when it blew up the most. When I first started, I've been in the UFC for 10 years now. I've been fighting at the highest level. The UFC, for people listening in that don't really know, is basically like the NFL of fighting.
Yeah.
There's other professional leagues, like what Lucas is doing, is, his eventual goal, he's basically playing in high school, college, and the eventual goal is to get to the UFC.
Right.
And the eventual goal for most football players is to get to the NFL so they can make a living off doing what they love. And, so that's what it is. But it came back big. In Jacksonville was the first UFC event during COVID. It was the only first American sports back into the world. So that's kind of when it really blew up. But it's good to be part of it.
So Charles, you're Boston Strong is the nickname now, right? So you represent that Boston title everywhere you go. Actually, and you have some big time, Boston cred when it comes to fighting. I think what is it? You got the most wins?
Yeah, I have the most all-time wins in the UFC in Boston. So I got 3. One above Conor McGregor. So it's pretty cool.
I saw they just booked a Boston gig there.
Yeah, August 19th, UFC Boston. I think they're still securing the venue. Hopefully they can get it back at the Garden, and that would be the goal. And I'm in communications now with the UFC, getting on the card. So that would be good to continue my legacy, continue my undefeated reign in Boston, and just continue cementing my legacy here.
What is it? What is it like? I can't imagine. I can't imagine, actually. What's it like being in Boston Garden?
Dude, it's like everything I ever dreamed of. Ever since I was a little kid, I used to go, me and Lucas have been to the Bruins games. We go to all the games whenever we can, even ones in Florida, which didn't go so well last week, but that's another story. But man, 18,000 people, sold out arena. Yeah. Everybody's chanting for you. And unlike other sports, there's only 2 people in the octagon. There's you and one other guy, the referee, but he's only there to save one of you. So it's a pretty brutal sport, but it's what I love, and it's the ultimate proving ground, and that's what it's known for. It's the ultimate proving ground. It's there's no teammates, there's nobody to blame it on if you win or lose. You get all the glory if you win. So that's the best part of it. And I've done that 3 times. I got 3 big wins in Boston. Best moments of my life.
Yeah, and nowhere to hide either, right?
Nowhere to hide. You're locked in a cage. Or the ref to pull you off the guy, or him to pull him off you.
Yeah, I joked when I just brought you guys in about two dangerous guys, but it is such a violent sport. I watch it. It's like you watch boxing. I think that's the appeal in a lot of ways too. I know people love the technical aspects of it, and there's a huge respect factor to it. I know and all that, but there is it's just sometimes more than boxing. There's more action, there's more violence, and I think that's the appeal in a lot of ways.
Yeah, it's a human instinct. Ever since I think the beginning of time, it's the ultimate. Like I said, it's the ultimate proving ground. I really believe that.
So we can see that Drayden Beverly come Friday.
Friday, come tune in, watch Lucas King of Monsters. May 12th, Friday, 8 o'clock, be there in Beverly.
King of Monsters, is that the...
it's my like title.
Huge Godzilla.
So it seems like everybody has a nickname. Is that the thing with the fighting game?
Okay. It's a ring name, they call it.
All right, a ring name. Okay, I gotcha. So the King of Monsters, very good. Can I still go with Lucas and Charles, or do you guys prefer the...
You call me.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of how I started out, too, was like, I would play like Godzilla with I have an identical twin brother, Francis, and I would play like Godzilla with him on the trampoline, and my older brothers and stuff would like chase me around and stuff, and so that's kind of how like I got my start, and kind of that led to like wrestling, which led to like jiu-jitsu, and then I did a little bit of rugby in college and stuff, but it was more like, it's not obviously a combat sport, but yeah, eventually I actually was one of the first people to get like an academic grant to study martial arts around the world, and so that's really when I knew this is what I wanted to do for the rest of my life.
So what are the inside baseball stuff? What are like this? Every like fighter kind of has a specialty, right? Some are more well-rounded than others, but what would you say you're best known for?
Probably my wrestling, grappling, I guess. But honestly, I try to be pretty well rounded. I think at this point, the sport, like you were saying, has evolved so much over the past 15 years that you kind of have to be great at everything. And that's what all my coaches are helping me become. So and that's one of the things I think that's the best part of mixed martial arts. It's like you're so in charge of everything. It's not like you're just a lineman in football doing one thing.
Right.
You have to know every position and every aspect, and there's cultures and different disciplines of martial arts that have all these different styles that have gone back centuries and centuries, and they're all culminating into this one sport that's only been here for the 1 decade. You know? So I think that's the coolest part about it. Like, you have to know every style, you have to know how to defend every style, and even if you're not good at that aspect of martial arts, you have to at least be aware of it. So
is that what you learned too, Charles, along the way?
That's the coolest thing. Me and Lucas, and especially in his academic scholarship where he got a large grant to travel the world, we've had the privilege of going around the entire planet Earth and traveling to all the best places and learning martial arts from the greatest grandmasters and instructors on the planet. I've been to Thailand practicing Muay Thai, been to Cambodia practicing Bokator, which is a martial art, Brazil training jiu-jitsu. Man, wow. I've been everywhere you can be. You name it, I've been there, and I've learned the martial art. And then, on top of it, in America, we have the best boxing and wrestling. So, I was born into that. So, and I grew up, playing hockey. So, an athlete. So it's pretty amazing to put all these styles together and bring it together in mixed martial arts, and that's what we do.
It's crazy how the fight game has taken you around the world like that, huh?
I fought in Japan, Mexico City, Stockholm, Sweden, Thailand, Cambodia. Man.
Is it like, I know you say, obviously the octagon's the same everywhere there in Thailand or Boston, but like, is there like a different feel when you're,
dude,
yeah.
every culture is so much different, like, and the feel of everything. And I mean, in Thailand, they have 4-year-old kids fighting each other, and it's insane. And I said something like, man, well, these kids are 4 5 years old. They're fighting each other. What is
like in the octagon?
Like making each other bleed in the ring. And I'm like, oh, what's up with this? And I asked the instructor of the gym, and she's like, hey, this is their culture, like this is what they do. So I almost, in a sense, have to respect it. I'm in their land. I'm in their foreign land, and I'm there, and I'll be part of it. But that's the incredible thing in this sport is every culture is different, and that's the beauty of the world. But it's just cool to be part of it all.
Your natural instinct didn't see the 4-year-old throwing punches.
Well, I had to run with the little kids in the morning in Thailand, and they would be crying on the runs, and I'm like, man, why is he crying? Like, I don't know what he's saying because he's speaking Thai. And I said to the lady, why is he crying? Does he need water? What's wrong with him? No, he doesn't want to fight next week. And I'm like, what do you mean? I mean, well, then don't make him fight. Yeah. I know he's providing money for his family. And I'm like, what? It's just, like I said, different culture, different world over there. But it's, it's a little more regulated here.
Is it me or Boston pretty well represented with MMA? There's a lot of you guys around that have been making the names, especially at I know I'm mostly focused, I guess, on the UFC level just because it's the biggest. But, Calvin Cater's.
Yeah, Calvin Cater,
you guys all friends, all the Boston guys?
Yeah, no, I mean, all of us are cool. They have their thing in New England. Rob Font, I came up training with him for years. Rico DeShula was just on the Tough Ultimate Fighter show on Team McGregor, so I got to go be part of that for a couple days. Yeah. I think that airs next month on ESPN. There's an Ultimate Fighter show, which is like they take all fighters, and they put them on they live together for 2 weeks in a TV show. Conor McGregor, you know, for those that know who he is, he's one of the best fighters on the planet.
I think most probably do at this point.
Yeah, Chandler. So they each coach their team. They have their teams fight each other. So that show airs next month. My buddy Rico DeSchulo, I grew up with him as a kid, and man, we got some of the best fighters in the world right here in Boston and right here in New England.
Who's I'm mind blank. He's been on the show. Horrible job. I mean, it's been a little while. His fight just got canceled for his Cowboy a few months ago. He's a Central Mass guy. Brother. Yeah, he was fighting Cowboy. I know Cowboy got sick at one point. I think they actually had 2 fights scrapped.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I'll look it up by the time we go. He's a good guest of the show. I'm sure.
He came on. No.
Yeah, he came. You know, he came on. That's probably why I'm struggling, because he came on during the pandemic weird times when I was doing the show literally by Zoom in my kitchen. These days are much better where you guys actually get to be in here. But yeah, no. It's a crazy sport. I mean, you guys as family members, what's it like watching brothers go at it? Is it nerve-wracking, exciting?
Yeah, no, it's nerve-wracking. I mean, he's fighting on
You're going to be
Friday.
nervous Friday.
I'm more nervous when he fights than when I fight.
Are you?
It's similar. Anyone that says they're not nervous before a fight is a liar. It's a nerve-wracking thing. You get in there, like you said, you're locked in. Almost every time you leave the fight, you're in some type of pain. Even if you kick it, I mean, if you go kick a person in the leg, it still hurts your foot to kick them. It's not like, you know what I'm saying? Believe it or not, you kick. So it's like, but no, man, it's definitely nerve-wracking, but it's cool because I've seen all the preparation that he's put in. And it's been a lot of work we put in, so I'm extremely confident. So that takes away a lot of the pressure. Like if he wasn't good and it was just like, all right, we're just gonna try this fighting thing, and he didn't know nothing, I think it would be much scarier. But man, I'm supremely confident in what I've shown him and what he's been practicing and how hard he's been training. So he's ready. He's ready to go. I'm excited.
Yeah. I mean, I think
I'm ready for you now. There you go. What a talk up.
Yeah, I think for sure it's cool. You know, like it's cool watching it, but it's like, you know. Watching my brother fight and even the Boston Garden, you know, like there's such passion in Boston for the sports and that sort of thing. So like, you know, living in the generation and time that I've lived in, I've seen all these Super Bowls and stuff, and that gives you like some sports anxiety, but it's nothing compared to having to watch your like brother fight someone in a cage, you know?
Yeah.
But, you know, it's awesome. You know, when you see him win, it's like those are some of, for me, even like the best moments in my life is like hugging him after a fight, like seeing him like smash someone.
And then eating the victory cheeseburger.
Oh yeah, that's great. Yeah,
because one of the things we do is we do a weight cut. Currently, you know, he hasn't eaten a carb probably in a week, and
is that how it goes?
Yeah. You got to do a weight cut, lose a lot of weight. So he'll lose about 15 pounds 2 weeks before his fight, and then you know he has the day before they have the weigh-ins, and you're able to rehydrate and
replenish.
So you have a Thursday weigh-in. So what are the early days of this week like? You're running a lot and
drinking water,
hyper
hydrating, and like, you know, just kind of very basic like protein, and you know, you got to make yourself like stuff that you don't normally eat, like kale and stuff.
Yeah, so, like his meal consists of 3 ounces of chicken and 3 ounces, you know, a little bit of kale. Lunch, you know, maybe 2 eggs, kale. Dinner, 3 ounces chicken, kale. That's his dinner.
And it's disciplined as could be. You don't stray off that at all.
It sounds like, that actually sounds good. I love chicken and kale, but not when you eat it for 2 weeks. You know what I'm saying? Like you're like, I want a cheeseburger, I want some pizza.
Now, are you coaching him come Friday or?
Yeah. No, I'll be in his corner, so I'll be cornering him. You know, kind of instructing him what to do in the cage. You know, giving him water between rounds if he needs it, and it's all, you know, wrapping his hands, getting his hands ready for the fight, and warming him up.
You must not take that for granted, Lucas, that you got this UFC brother that's there to pick his brain. And
it's amazing, and he has such a breadth of knowledge, and I think part of it too is he's like, he understands things, I think, even conceptually a lot better than a lot of coaches too, and he can he's, you know, come into his own as a coach as well. He coaches a UFC fighter, Daniel Marcos, who's one of the best Peruvian fighters in the world. He recently won his UFC debut, a 14-0 pro, and so he does a great job coaching him as well. I think he cornered somewhere in Baltimore last week too.
Cornered a girl fighter, Kelsey DeSantis. She just won her first pro fight, and she's capable of being, you know, UFC champion. So I got a couple you know, fighters that are even above Lucas, like fighting in the UFC, fighting at the highest levels in the world. And
you like the coaching?
They're winning. I love it. You know, I mean, I'm 36 years old. I think I still have, you know, 2 of my best years of fighting ahead of me. But, you know, I'm not, you know, eventually, like, I don't want to be fighting when I'm 40, into my 40s and stuff like that. Like, they start losing, you know, your jumps and stuff like that. I still feel great right now. I went for a run this morning. Couldn't have felt any better. But eventually, I'm sure that, you know, the time will catch up with me. So I want to be able to move on and continue to do what I love. And that's what the sport's brought me. I've been able to do what I love to do. And then be able to pass the knowledge on to the next generation of fighters and keep it going and make them, hopefully Lucas can be better than me. And that's truly what I want,
Yeah. I'm 36 too. I also don't want to be fighting at 40.
Yeah. And I mean, I think for me too, like that's one of the things is I kind of view martial arts as a pursuit of knowledge, the same way I viewed like philosophy and like writing and a lot of more academic things. And that's kind of part of what my Watson Fellowship was about. And so to be able to have like so many resources, and especially a resource like your brother who really wants you to take on that knowledge, is just a very special thing.
Yeah.
And he can pick up subtle things that like, that he used to do, because we have the same like kind of body type and same like type of like learning style. He can pick up on things that like I don't even realize, and he's like, yep, I did that like 10 years ago.
I bet it helps that he's still in the game too.
Oh, for sure.
It's just
there's certain mentality.
Exactly. He thinks like a fighter style. Not that like I'm sure there's great older coaches too that will never.
I mean, it definitely helps to have this similar body type too, because styles like the body type makes the type of fighter. So like I know he has strong legs, so when he kicks, I'm like, man, like he kick good, and I realize what works for me works for him. So like he has the blueprint of what I did, and the plan is to take my blueprint, make it better, and send it on to him. And that's what we're doing. Yeah. And you got to keep some secrets. I'm sure you guys square up a little bit, right? No, I'm sure, and I'm sure part of the mental part of it that we haven't talked about is I don't know if you met my dad. Have you met my dad, Chucky?
Oh yeah, I was going to talk about him. Don't worry.
Yeah, we'll talk about him. But he runs a Chucky. He's fighting stuff like that, and he really has gotten us mentally tough our entire lives. Like growing up as kids. I mean, if I'm watching TV as a kid, which rarely ever happened, never was allowed to play video games. Always outside in the house, doing yard work and stuff like that. Yeah. But like if we were able to watch TV in between the commercials, we're doing push-ups. He's like, you got to do push-ups. Yeah. Made us call him sir, and like things like that. It's just a respect and a discipline that it's a little different these days for sure. But that respect and discipline is carried over to fighting for me, and it's carried over for Lucas, and it's kind of given us the mental capacity to be able to take on these fights, and it's a lot.
Yeah, your dad Chucky came on this show, and he said he's the only guy that can make me jump in the ocean when it's whatever degree it was. I'll tell you that much.
No way, you did it?
I did it. Yeah. Oh, and actually, I think I did not get a good day. It was not quite winter time. It was back end of winter maybe, but he was telling me it was not a good day out there. So it's gonna be you're gonna get.
It's like a nightmare when you wake up.
The full experience.
I actually tell you, before I get into your dad, I will say that jumping in the ocean thing. There's like something to it.
Oh,
for sure.
Like I drink a lot of coffee and everything. I've never felt more alive than.
Dude, it makes you wake up in the morning, and nothing that can wake you up like that. I think I'm eventually I want to get into that, like doing like cold plunges and baths and stuff like that. I think even for recovery, like my body's smoked at the end of the week. Like I do 2 or 3 sessions, 3 or 4 hours of training a day, 5 days in a row, and the end of the week comes and your body, like you can barely feel like you're 100 years old.
Yeah.
You go jump in the water, it just kind of reboots you.
It reboots you. I did it in the afternoon with your dad. We went under the bridge. I think we probably around 3 p.m. And I was always tired. I've been up since like 3 a.m. So 3 p.m. we did it, and I was like, I'm good to go the rest of the evening, And I was thinking to myself, I was like, I should do that more, and I have not done it more. I'll tell you that.
Well, it'll be the toughest thing you do all day. And when you do the toughest thing you do all day, if you do it in the morning, then the day only.
That's a good way to think about it. That's a good way to think about it. That's how he describes it. All right, good. Yeah, your dad came on. He was great, man. We had such a fun time talking to him, and obviously he talks about some really serious stuff because he's doing great work and helping people through addiction, which he was very open about. You guys have had a lot of family loss. I know it's well documented. What you guys always thinking about that when you enter the ring? Or I'm sure it's always on your mind.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I write my brother's hockey numbers on my hands before I get my hands wrapped and stuff, and so I think for both of us it's kind of that thing where like we have two like angels on our shoulders like watching over us and like coming into that ring and
people ask like, oh, what you guys seem like such nice kids, like what what is it like if you go to his fight and you see him like when his walk-up music comes on and they open the curtain and he walks out, you're gonna see a different person. You're not gonna recognize him. Like, who is that kid? It's this nice kid that was sitting here, we're having good conversation, but there's a switch and we flip it, and that's I think what we think about. We think about our brothers. We think about all the losses and all the hard times of going through that, and that's our way to vent it out and to deal with it. And that's it worked. It's worked for me incredibly. Just being able to have some that's the way you vent it. It's like a bottle. You shake it up enough, it's gonna explode, but you have to have a way to vent it out. And fighting in MMA for me is the way that I'm able to deal with it.
Yeah, well, I know your dad's very proud of you guys. He was talking as highly as could be. I know. I mean, I know you guys get excited watching each other. I'm pretty sure for him it's just straight nervousness.
He's a maniac, but it's what it is. I mean, and my mom too. She's just like almost in tears the whole time. She watches like this with her eyes closed.
It must be torture in some way.
Yeah. My sister's a maniac.
My sister's the craziest one. Yeah,
my sister Teresa, she's like, she watches it with her eyes closed, but it's because she cares about us so much, and I get it, you know what I'm saying? Awesome. But my mom wouldn't go to any of my first fights. Like, when I first started fighting amateur, like, oh, you're fighting, like, too scared to go. Yeah. But then I won, like, 10 fights in a row. I'm like, Mom, I'm going to win, don't worry. She's
good at this.
And then she gets so confident. She's like, oh, he's going to win. I'm like, all right, that's good now.
But, and to the game, you were kind of a late bloomer, right?
Yeah, I didn't start training. My first fight probably wasn't until I was 24 years old. So I thought my athletic career was done. I played, high school hockey, lacrosse, college hockey, lacrosse at Johnson & Wales in Providence, Rhode Island. I graduated with a culinary arts degree, so I was a chef. I went to Florida and started working in this nice, like, 5-star fine dining restaurant, Cut 432.
It's a bit Renaissance man, by the way.
Yeah, and I guess whatever you want to call it. And I was like, man, like, this isn't for me. This, like, 9 to 5 work, or actually in the restaurant, it's like, it's like 2 to 12 a night, whatever it is. It's still different. Go home, and, man, I'm just like, something's missing, man. Like, I played sports my whole life since I was 3 years old. I could skate before I could learn how to walk, basically, ice skate. And I'm missing something after college, and I went into what I thought was a boxing gym and found a mixed martial arts gym, and it was American top team in Boca Raton, Florida. And, man, I fell in love with it the first day, and the rest is history.
Wow, that's something. And here you are, huh? Damn, it is a crazy story.
I mean, my uncle Tom Rosa, Tom the Bomb Rosa, is a local tough man champion, legend, man of a boxer. So, he's in his mid-50s and he's still fighting. Actually, he's the tough man masters champion of the world right now for boxing.
No
for his age group in the United States. So pretty cool. So shout out to him, Tom the Bomb Rosa.
It is. What's the back to your dad for 1 second? Because he's doing locally. He does just so much. It's we're Newburyport. We're 15 minutes from where your dad lives, and jumps in the water and does all that stuff, and brings a lot of people in and brings a lot of support to a lot of people. What's it like watching him from a distance? Because I know you guys are off doing a lot of travels and stuff, and then you see your dad jumping in the ocean doing something good for somebody. That must be pretty cool to watch as his sons as well.
Yeah, it's pretty motivating too, I think, in a sense. Like, I always think, like, what we do is so hard in the training and stuff, but I'm like, well, I'm not, like, waking up at, like, 5 a.m. every day, like, jumping in the ocean. So it's, like, to see him have that work ethic and, like, where he's at.
And after the pain of, like, just, I mean, I can't imagine what it's like to lose two sons, to turn it into that.
I know it's his way of dealing with it, but I don't think people realize, like, a lot of people, like, I actually had I was fortunate enough to, like, about 2 or 3 weeks ago to meet David Goggins. David Goggins, he's like the big motivational speaker guy. He does all the runs and stuff, and he's like one of those guys. But the person that I saw when I met him that I thought of was my dad. I'm like, this is what my dad does. My dad, people don't realize, he wakes up every morning, doesn't miss a morning. There's not one morning I'm like, oh, Dad's in bed. It doesn't happen. I wake up. If I get up early and have to go somewhere, he's up before me. He's out in the gym at 6 a.m. working out on the rowing machine, ripping it like an hour and a half straight, ripping the rowing machine. And then from there, he goes and jumps in the ocean. And by the time I'm up at like 7:30, he's friggin' in the kitchen like want a protein shake? And I'm like, get up, get out of bed.
Get busy.
He's gonna get busy, do stuff. And I'm like,
anytime I talk to him on the phone, he's puffing and puffing, running or something.
And then from there, he goes to his garden. He's feeding the chickens. He's gardening. He's shoveling. He's chopping wood for the fire. That it's not even, it's summertime. Like, Dad, we don't need wood. But he's working all the time, and it's I won't say it to him when he's there, but I'll say it to you guys. Like, it's motivational to watch it. I'm like, man, like, it's a good example.
Yeah, I think just that there's the realness there too. Like, I can imagine when he goes in and talks to high school kids, it's like, it's not your teacher talking in high school.
This is authentic.
Everybody respects him. I think. I think he's the type of person that, I've even brought him into some of the most, like, alpha gyms in the planet Earth, and the coaches and the fighters, they all respect him. The best fighters in the planet, and they all I think he's genuine good.
I was going to say, those gyms must be kind of, that's an exclusive place, right?
Well, you can't even walk in there. They just stare at you like this.
You wouldn't let me walk in there?
Oh, I would let you walk in, but you're on your own.
Well said. Oh, that's too funny. Lucas, so who are you fighting Friday?
I'm fighting this guy, Randy Francis, pretty experienced guy, especially at.
Is he local or?
Yeah, he's local. He's local around here.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm ready to go. I'm definitely gonna pour it on him. So.
Is the fight game more about when you like really getting ready for a fight? You're zoned in. You know who your opponent is. You're ready to go. Is it more about you, or are you actually looking at tape? Or what does this guy do well? How can we exploit him? Or is it more let's work on what you need to work on to get yourself ready to go?
Some people like to watch tape. For me, I like to take in as much information as possible. But for me, it's really about like getting me to the point where I'm perfect and as close to sharp as possible. You just want to be like fight week preparation is a little more slowed down than a lot of the other parts of training.
Yeah.
Like we like train, 3 to 4 times a day sometimes, 6 days a week. So we're trained very hard, but fight week is really more just about slowing things down and trying to take in the information.
Do interviews.
Yeah. In between sessions.
Make the weight everything.
Exactly.
And is there, as far as what is the weight limit? Is it a weight class?
Featherweight 145.
So Lucas will typically walk around 165, 170 pounds. If you cut him a month ago, that's how much he weighs. 100.
So you've had to cut 25 pounds.
So he's cutting 25 pounds up to the weigh-ins, and then by the time he gets in the cage, he'll be about 162 pounds. So
much kale.
Yeah.
He's gonna gain like 20 pounds in one day.
Wow, that's where the cheeseburger comes in afterwards.
Yeah.
It's mostly water though. That's the thing. Your body's mostly made up of water. So you drink 2 gallons. Most people don't know this, but a gallon of water is 8 pounds. So you drink 2 gallons of water, 16 pounds right there.
Huh.
Yeah, it's good.
I did not know that. Yeah,
no way.
It's so simple.
People that are like, I lost and gained a pound today, dude. It's like you're probably just dehydrated.
Yeah.
I'm not to take it away from you, but
you're ruining people's day here.
Or if you're heavy, maybe you drink too much water. Make it feel better.
That is funny.
In a sauna, you'll lose 2 pounds.
Joe Lozon, by the way.
Yeah.
That's who I was thinking of when I was talking about that.
He's commentating.
I'm actually going to be commentating alongside of him. For CES, the CES fights. So
cool.
I'm going to be commentating next to him.
He seemed like a pretty great guy from the short time I got to spend with him. So.
When's your fight? What's the date of your fight?
Mine's the 12th, Friday.
May 12th,
so May 12th.
Yep.
It's
coming right up.
I'm going to be commentating next to Joe Lozon for CES, and that fight.
Oh, so you're going to go down.
Yeah, the same
You're
one.
going to coach him.
Same day.
And then,
so I didn't. That's what I was thinking. I was like, wait, it's the same day.
How am I going to do that?
No. So Lucas is on the undercard, which they have the amateurs, because Lucas is an amateur fighter.
Yep.
And then once the pro card starts, it's live on UFC Fight Pass. So anybody can tune in and watch that. It's an app on your phone, UFC Fight Pass, and I'm going to be commentating.
It's very popular.
I'm going to be commentating alongside Joe Lozon, so we'll be like doing the play-by-play. Oh, look, you knocked him out, and you know what I'm saying? Post-fight interviews and stuff like that. So you guys can catch us then right after Lucas's fight. I go right from being a cornerman to a color commentator. Right
in the heart of Beverly, Massachusetts. There you go. It's crazy. What's the what's the wildest actual fight story for you guys? I'm sure you got plenty of them.
But street fight or real fight? It's different stories.
I was thinking in the cage, but man, now that you said it that way, I'm thinking street fight.
I'll give you a quick one. This is probably the most legendary. I think it's when I first moved to South Florida. I didn't have much. I mean, I had a phone, I had a bicycle, no car, nothing. Yeah. So when I went to the restaurant, cut 432 every day, my car was my bicycle, so I rode there every day. It was the only thing I had, basically. Yeah. I was poor when I first moved down there. And I came out of work one night, about 12 o'clock at night, go drive back to my house, and my bike's gone. I'm like, oh, man, dude. It's like the equivalent probably right now if my car got stolen. And I was like, this is a nightmare. I don't know what I'm going to do. So I'm walking down the street, sure enough, and I'm pissed. I'm looking for my bike. I'm probably no chance I'm going to find it, but I'm going to walk through. I walk right through the hood because I figured if someone stole it, maybe someone from the hood stole it because that's just the area.
It's a rough area.
I know it's a rough area. So I said, I'm going to walk right through there, have my backpack on. Sure enough, walking right through the hood, I see this dude, looks like Lil Wayne, no shirt on, riding my bike
No way.
Side to side. I'm like, no way, dude. I'm like, that's my bike. I'm like, there's no way. I'm like, and I had a flashing light on the back, so I knew for a fact it was mine. I even had the light on.
Yeah. Oh, my goodness.
And, man, I just approached him and said, hey, man, that's my bike. Can I get back? He's like, F you. And I'm like, hey, come on, man, just give me my bike back. He's like, F you. And I was like, all right. And then I just tried to take it from him. Started tug-of-warring it, pulling it into the middle of the street to try to just cause some commotion so hopefully he'd run off. He knew he stole the bike.
Yeah.
And cars stopped both sides. Everyone's like beeping, like, get out of the road. But like they can see we're having like a little confrontation. And I'm just trying to take my bike back. And man, as that comes, you can see like everybody from the hood and all his friends, like there were gang members. I ended up finding out later, were approaching, like kind of creeping out of the woodworks, like, and I started feeling danger. I'm like, man, something bad's about to happen. I'm gonna get shot or stabbed or something. Yeah. But I'm not leaving without my bike because that's how important it is to me. So I thought quick, I thought on my toes, and I was like, I said it loud. I'll fight you because I know everybody likes to see fights. Like, oh, listen, I'll fight you right now, me versus you for the bike. Right now, let's go, run it. And then his boys like, yo, let's run it, D, let's run it. And everybody backs up. Like, all the people that were creeping in on me made the space. Dude, and I just went at it with them for, like, it took about probably 3 minutes. Just, like, it was tough. Yeah. He had dreads. I had to get him by the dreads, throwing uppercuts, blood all over me.
How many years ago was this?
What?
How many years ago?
10, 12 years. So this is right when I started fighting. So I only had 1 or 2.
So you're not that seasoned.
If it was now, I would have bundled them right up. It would have lasted 2 seconds. But you'd be surprised, man. Like, a street fight is tough, man. These guys, they don't play by the rules. There's not, they're scratching and going for your eyes. They're biting. They're going crazy. So it's like, it was a real fight, man. And, man, I bottom line, I got my bike back. The cops came and they're like, "What happened?" And like, they're like, "You really put a number in that kid." And I was like, "Oh yeah,
I took my bike."
And then I went the next day. They actually had to pick up my bike the next day at the police station. And they said to me, "Hey, you put a lot of cops and a lot of people in danger. Like, why did you do that?" I said, "Well, hey, man, like, I just was trying to get my bike back. Like, that was all I had, And he's like, "Well, it was a really stupid move." And he goes, "I don't know if you know this, but they were filming episodes of Gangland in that area in West Palm Beach. Is one of the worst, hoods in the world. And like, the guy that you got in a fight with is wanted for murder and all these drug charges.
Oh
and
my
he's one of the gang leaders. And like, you're lucky you didn't get shot." And I was like, "Ooh." And it hit me hard, but hey, I got my bike back, and the rest is history. But it's a cool story.
Yeah. Man.
A real fight story,
They're probably watching you on TV now, going, "You know what? That was probably the wrong guy to take a bike from."
Yeah, I mean, but it worked out. So I got to be able to, if someone takes something, I got to be able to look myself in the mirror and knowing that I did what I had to do.
Yikes.
So.
Yeah. Wow, I take it your story, Lucas, might be more from inside the cage. Or
That's just. I mean, I have some good fights inside the cage. I'd say like one of the craziest things though. I guess it was like maybe the craziest day of my life in a sense was because it was my like first MMA debut. Yeah. And like right after the fight, they were a little upset that like I beat their like Cuban like champion basically, and yeah. So what happened is I guess some people started throwing chairs, and I'm not gonna mention the promotion at all. But they started throwing chairs and that sort of thing, and it started kind of becoming like a little like fight broke out, a little riot almost. And so I kind of stayed in the opposite end as I saw this unfolding, and then all of a sudden there were like gunshots, which was nuts.
I hid under the cage.
Oh,
and so
man.
I
you went under the cage?
Yeah, I took the ring girl and ran under the cage. I'm like,
so honestly, the thing that was crazy is I was over there. I had no idea where anyone was. Like I, tried to pull a few people out of the fight, but then once the shots happened, I was like, I don't know what's happening here. This is insane. Like
you're just against the cage. You're still in there.
And so I ran. I jumped under the cage, and I look around, and there's 2 people under the cage, and I look over and I see, is that my brother? Is that my brother? And I look over and I see Charles, and he says, "Oh, we must be the 2 smartest people there." And I was like, what? I was like, and we're from opposite ends of the place, and so, I mean, for me, that was crazy. And then later you see, like, people with
a bunch of people came, much more people came under the cage, like, minutes later, but then everybody came, the police came.
But you see, like, the police come down the street with, like, riot gear on and stuff, and so that was, like, for me, it was, like, I had the biggest adrenaline like rush of my life and my first my first MMA win and that sort of thing, and then shots fired. Man, it was scary.
Is that my brother and the ring girl?
Normal. Yeah, exactly. Well, that's not normal. Well, that's not a normal thing to happen. It's the only time I've ever seen. Like, I've seen maybe 1 or 2 fights break out in my life at a fight show, but everyone's there to watch the fights and not there to stop.
Well, that's actually one thing that I love about the sport too, because people, and I try to like sell that to people too. I'm like, these guys are looking to kill each other in the ring, but when it's over, it's like, look at the respect. It's like a lot of respect,
and that's why they call it mixed martial arts. It really is. It's an art. It's an art form, and it's like, and it takes the ultimate discipline and dedication, and you got to respect that against your opponent. And that's what And there's a saying that like respect is earned, not given. So after the fight,
especially in that.
And that's it. Whether you win or lose, you usually earn their person's respect. So
yeah, no doubt. I mean, nobody knows what it takes to get in there than you guys, right?
Yeah, it takes a lot to make that walk. Not many people can do it. It's one thing to talk about it. You don't know how many people I hear talk about fighting and want to be fighters, but to make that walk, any person, win, lose, or draw, that's ever made that walk, they have my respect.
Yeah, well said. Who's the nicest guy in the UFC? Big name.
Wonderboy.
Stephen Wonderboy Thompson.
Yeah.
I've had the privilege to train with him. He's a karate kid, nicest kid ever, but he'd kick your head off.
Wow. Yeah. I remember Joe Lozon. I remember one story. He'll always stick with me.
Joe's pretty nice dude too.
No, one story he told me though, because I'm going to ask you about like what's the maybe like the defeat or whatever. He told me this is exactly how he answered the question. He goes, "I'm told I fought in Japan once."
Oh, he doesn't remember. That must have been a tough one.
He goes, the bell rang. I went in. I was amped up. I was ready to go, and I had prepared for a kick, and like I think it was a kick right off the bat, and down it goes down. I went. Next thing I knew, he goes, somehow like I was alert enough to like fly back home, but like next thing I knew, I woke up at home.
Oh my god!
And I was like, and I just didn't. It was something along those lines where it was just one of those nights, you know.
Yeah.
Because that line will always stick with me. Was I'm told I fought in Japan.
That's actually hilarious because it's like that's you know. But I mean, I've been fortunate enough to never been knocked out or like choked unconscious. Like after 50 fights, I've been able to
It's kind of an unbelievable run, right?
Yeah, it's a pretty cool run. I mean, and I'm still going, and I've had 4 fight of the night bonuses and performance bonuses in the UFC, so that's like an extra $50,000 bonus for like the best fight in the card, and that's up against the best fighters in the like there's usually 12 or 13 bouts, 26 fighters on one card, and out of all those fighters, they picked me at the end of the card. They're saying it was the most exciting fight. So we'll win, lose, or draw. Even if I don't win, I've also had been able to be part of some of the greatest fights in UFC history, which is pretty cool.
Yeah,
so I always fight my heart out. Like that's the thing is sometimes I don't always fight this. Like that's the problem with me, and I'm trying to fix with him. Is I don't always fight the smartest. Like I fight exciting though. So like fans want to see it, but sometimes when it goes to the judges' scorecards, they're like, well, like that was just like friggin' Tasmanian devil cast. I don't know who won, so we'll just pick. Yeah. And usually it's in the other person's hometown. Like when I went to Mexico City, I fought the current champion Yair Rodriguez. I lost a split decision, which means 2 judges said he won, 1 judge said I won, but in his hometown, like. And I lost, and it was like I thought I won. Everyone else thought I won on TV, but it's the Mexico, so good luck getting that win against those Mexican judges. So it's but you learn and you just fight the best you can, and that's the way I do it. Yeah. But it's tough, like that's this crazy story about Joe. Like he said, he probably didn't know where the hell he was.
Well, and do you like this? Excuse me if this is a bad question. It's but do you like practice getting like choked out or like do you like
well people try to choke you out and try to practice stopping them.
I know, but I'm just thinking like it's never happened to you. Like I just wonder if like you.
Well, it's happened to me in the gym.
That's what I mean. That's all I mean in the gym.
Like against one of my teammates goes for a choke and I'm like a little bit stubborn, don't want to tap, and I wake up. Oh, what happened? Oh, you didn't tap, dude. You freaking went to sleep. Like, all right, but believe it or not, when you get choked out, like. It's weird, like you're fine. Like I don't know.
Yeah,
most people don't know that.
Put to sleep for a little.
I mean, when you get knocked out, it's a little different. I mean, I've also never been knocked out, so I must have a good chin. I don't know. Yeah. But it's it definitely your brain needs time to recover. So I try to avoid the amounts of shots. So that's what I try to do with Lucas too. Is like there used to be a lot of sparring and getting hit in the head a lot. Like people think that. Yeah. But we try to limit that as much as possible in MMA because MMA it's not just boxing where you just. In boxing, they're just trying to hit you in the head, over and over. But in mixed martial arts, there's wrestling, there's grappling, there's ground fighting, there's a lot more involved. So it's not, there's leg kicks, there's body kicks, there's not. So it's like the damage is all over your body.
Some of those leg kicks, man. Actually, Calvin, right? Calvin had that horrible injury, right?
Oh my God, yeah.
I remember that's when I was really getting into it. I was like rooting for him. I didn't even know him.
Yeah, I mean, I broke my 3 fights ago in the first round. The first kick the guy threw broke my leg, and I didn't know. And I kept fighting. The fight ended. I actually lost a decision. I was like, man, I didn't feel great that fight, and I limped home in the plane. But usually I'm always limping after a fight from throwing kicks and stuff. Yeah. Go to the doctor's office. I go into the doctor, and she's like, Charles. I go to this guy, Dr. Gelbert, his assistant comes in. She's like, Charles, what are you doing? I'm like, what do you mean? I'm at the doctor's. My leg hurts. She's like, no, why are you walking around? I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, because I had to. And she's like, your leg is broken. And I'm like,
jeez.
What? She's like, how are you walking around with a broken leg? She's like, I'm like, I don't know, dude. Like,
you went the distance?
Fix it. Yeah. I was like, fix it. She's like, you're crazy. I'm like,
man. Well, I mean, it's when you're in the cage, it's probably adrenaline's.
Yeah. I knew my leg hurt after, but that's it.
Wow.
It's
It's madness.
You fight through it. It's a crazy sport. It's what we love to do, and that's the thing. We get to do what we love to do, and you know, instead of me waking up and having to go to the restaurant every morning and serve things, and I respect that a lot because I did it. I still worked throughout. Fighting in the UFC just to stay humble. I'd wash the tables at the end of the night, wipe down the floor just because I wanted to remember what I would have to go back to if I started losing again.
Wow.
So it helped me a lot. But it's it all comes full circle. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah. What's the age difference between you guys?
9 years.
9 years.
10 years. Yeah.
So you're not kidding when you say you're trying to make him the perfect.
I don't want him to have to go get a regular job.
Learn from my mistakes in the cage. Although you haven't made many, if you haven't been. What is it like when you knock somebody out? Is that like?
It's the best feeling. Like it's like it's like all the hard work and the usually training camps is like 8 weeks, but it's 8 weeks of just grinding. Like imagine like you work for 8 weeks and you don't get a paycheck,
right?
But finally you get that one paycheck at the end, and not only is it that, but it's also like all the work you did comes into 1 second, like, and it makes sense. It's like, okay, that was successful. So it's like all the work you did. Imagine if you did all the work you did and then you had to like report it to someone and they either had to accept it saying that you're going to get paid for it and we're going to accept the work or not, and then you do it and it's like everything comes to light. It's worth it. It's like the final test, and you pass the test, and you're like, all right, we're good, and that was worth it. Let's do it again in 3 months.
You're looking for what? Do you have a strategy for Friday? You probably don't want to say it, but
I kind of need to be a little like
a little coy about that.
But
strategy
versus my strategy is to be vicious and like I go in there. I try to be a polite kid outside of this, but when I go into the cage, like it's kill mode. I know like. The other person is trying to take away a lot of things like that I feel like I've sacrificed a lot of like there's times, there's the sprints, there's like the moments like where you doubt yourself and that sort of thing, and you're trying to take all of that and make it worth nothing. So when I head into the cage, I go in there a little hot. I feel like I'm like kind of a different person. Like you said, I'm a little bit of an alter ego when you go into the.
That's a great into the mindset of like he's trying to take away everything I've worked for. That's. That, I guess that's where the switch comes in.
Yeah, don't let that happen.
Yeah, you don't. Like, I'm not gonna just let that happen.
I completely get it, man. Lucas Rosa, Charles Rosa. This has been a blast. We do a little rapid fire real quickly to end the show here.
Let's run
just random stuff. We'll go. You mind taking the first ones, Lucas? We'll move left to right.
I'll try. Yeah.
All right. There's some of them are easy. Favorite food?
Favorite food, chicken parmesan, or fried chicken maybe.
Sorry to do that to you while you're cutting weight. Next one. Same question for you.
Oh, chicken parmesan.
Chicken. That's all right.
My house's
family deal.
My dad makes good stuff.
Your dad made me. What did he give us? He gave us I think oysters.
He digs clams every day.
Yeah, I know, man. It's funny. Favorite music to train to or get ready for?
Maybe like Eminem or that kind of thing. Maybe Pink Floyd a little bit. Iron Maiden, yeah.
It's like two very different.
I like Eminem. Although Eminem, I like Sublime if I want to like relax on the beach and stuff. So it's also mood setting. But Iron Maiden, like if you want to get amped up, and Black Sabbath. Ozzy Osbourne.
Who's the guy that you guys most like fighting, just from a pure watching standpoint?
I like there was a fighter. Well, I mean, obviously Mike Tyson, and then there was Kimbo Slice when he was a street fighter. Yeah. He was one. I was fortunate enough to corner him in a couple fights. But yeah, Kimbo Slice.
Yeah, for me, it's like I actually really like Wonderboy Thompson a lot. I think his style is like cool. It's a very, very cool story. And of course, my brother. Alex.
Yeah, well said. Well played. Favorite city, not Boston, to fight in. You got to pick another one. What was your issue? You said it was Cuba, was it? What was your issue? When you jumped into the ring, where was that again? What venue?
Boston.
Yeah,
mine's Boston.
You can't say Boston. You're too easy with Boston.
West Palm is sometimes I fight there a lot, so that's like usually.
Where were the gunshots though?
Yeah, that was
West Palm Beach.
Yeah, West Palm.
That was West Palm Beach.
It was Lake Worth, in Florida.
Yeah. And when you upset the Cuban people.
The Cuban national team came to fight the whole team, and then Lucas was
in West Palm Beach.
Supposed to be the victim, but he won.
They won, so they were angry.
Give me another city. You got a bunch of cities under your belt.
Well, I think the coolest place was Tokyo.
Tokyo,
Japan.
And you actually remember it, unlike Joe.
They have golf clap. Like So here, I like Boston. I said Boston.
You did say Boston.
I couldn't say
Boston strong. Come on.
Boston was crazy. It was the energy through the roof. But like the exact opposite, where the energy is insane. Now Tokyo, Japan, you knock the guy out, they go like this, golf clap.
Wow, that's
why you could hear a penny drop.
Just polite.
Yeah. No, I mean, I guess too, one of my favorite places to train. I actually, as part of my Watson fellowship that I got, the academic grant, I went to like Cambodia to train, and that was like very interesting, just because there's such a different like, you know, I'd be riding to the training session on like a dirt bike and have like dogs chasing me, like, you know, wild dogs. Are just like such a different atmosphere than like going from a liberal arts college, like studying philosophy and creative writing, to like dirt paths, like fighting, you know, in Cambodia. So that was interesting. Yeah.
Charles, 2 names that you real quickly in the final moments we have. Conor McGregor. Immediate thoughts that come to mind?
Hard worker, legend.
You know him personally?
Discipline, yeah.
What's he like? What's he like in real life?
A month ago, he's a good, solid guy. What you see on TV, it's a show. You know, it's like the WWF. It's just it's a show. He's a hard working, disciplined guy, and he wouldn't have got to where he got to unless he did that.
Okay. Dana White,
same thing. Hard working, smart, businessman.
Yeah. But all right, so you got good words to say about those two. Give me a Cowboy, because I know
Cowboy. He's a maniac. that's one word. That's it. He's a maniac, but it's the same thing. He's a maniac, hardworking, disciplined, and he's a martial artist, real martial artist.
You've been taking lessons from the broadcast team of Rogan and those guys for Friday night.
No, definitely. Yeah, no, I watched Rogan, and you know, I've been fortunate enough to commentate some big fights, and you know, working on, you know, hopefully getting into the UFC to be able to commentate for them also. So cool,
man. Well, it's been so much fun. I went a little longer than I told you guys. Sorry about that. I was enjoying myself here. It was a good conversation. Lucas, best of luck Friday, man.
Appreciate it.
We wish you all the best. Go get a win if you're you're right here. You're in Newburyport. You're 20 minutes away. Go check it out. Right in Beverly, North Shore Music Theater, hosting. Yep, yeah, it's coming right up. It's just like excitement time, right?
Yeah, for me, like this is great because I get to come back to New England and kind of, I think, cement myself as like the best amateur fighter in the country. So
you'll have some family and friends in attendance, I'm sure.
For sure.
That'd be great, man. Well, good luck to you. It's been a pleasure meeting you guys. It was great to meet your dad, man. You're a great family, and this has been fun. The Sarah Hayden, Sarah Blackstone, thank you guys for all the hard work. Of course, I always have the easy part, as usual, just talking to interesting people like these guys. But hey, that's it, everybody. Live at Drew's house, Joppa Afternoon Drive. We will see you all next time, all right? Thanks for joining us. Peace.